Australian cruise line investigation, tragic shooting in Canada, and should elections be postponed? Good morning, you've clicked into Kylie Clifton, reporting whenever you watch this video. Now audience, what is the key to success? No, not toilet paper, but accessories. So put on those thinking caps, medical masks, and listening ears, because we're staying at home with WNHS. Now you have the right accessories, so let's do something you haven't done all week. Get dressed and out of those pajamas with today's weather. In today's weather, we present a groundbreaking new innovation, the thermostat, where you can customize your in-home temperature to anything you want. Have you been missing the hot summer? Put on all your clothes and set your temperature to a hot environment so that you can have an in-home sauna. In case you were concerned with the outside world, it has been about mid-50s, so all the more reason to stay inside in your in-home sauna. Now congratulations, you're fully dressed and ready to conquer your biggest fear. That's right, your fear of the news. Speaking of the news, across the Pacific, Australian officials investigate a source at sea. Australian police boarded the Ruby Princess cruise ship to gather evidence for an investigation into how thousands of passengers were allowed to disembark in Sydney last month, resulting in a spike of coronavirus cases. Over 600 cases and 15 deaths have been linked to the ship. Last week, police launched a probe into just why the Ruby Princess was allowed to dock in Sydney, dropping off 2,600 members despite widespread concern over the virus. From Australian virus investigation, up in Canada, a tragic shooting brings investigation. Nova Scotia authorities have begun investigating the shooting of a gunman who may have been disguised as a police officer and went on a 12-hour rampage that left 16 people dead in a small town. A confrontation with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police began after a manhunt for the fleeing suspect overnight. They were killed last Sunday, and the Nova Scotia Serious Incident Response Team took over the investigation into the death. Back home in the Midwest, governors seek unity for the economy. The Midwest governors announced a partnership to reopen the economy in the Midwest region. The governors include Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Illinois Governor Eric Holcomb, and Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear. The governors made the announcement on April 16th. We are doing everything we can to protect the people of our states and slow the spread of COVID-19, and we are eager to work together to mitigate the economic crisis. Turning away from government action to a complicated Korean election. It's just after lunchtime at a central Seoul market, and in a crowd of hot pink jackets gather. Pink is the color of the country's main opposition party, the Conservative United Future Party. And this is a crowd of supporters staging a legal campaign rally ahead of Wednesday's election of 300 members in the National Assembly. Large public gatherings are a jarring sight during this pandemic, but Korea has never postponed an election and is at odds. Like many democracies around the world, South Korea has been faced with a predicament. At least 47 countries have postponed the elections due to corona. Now for your favorite segment, Kylie's key points on today's editorial. It isn't simply the choice of comparing nations and the status of their elections, but this is an incredibly individual decision for each nation. First being, it's all a matter of time. Each nation is struggling, but at different peaks with the coronavirus. According to Reuters, Seoul is experiencing fewest cases since February 29th peak. And although that brings hope, that's still only about 2 months for where we are right now, and the virus is still active around the world. Therefore, this May election is still in close proximity to the virus reign and peak. I think it should be rescheduled because according to NPR, Korea has 10,780 cases and 250 deaths, and they should do what they can to make sure those numbers stay down. To conclude, Korea shouldn't be concerned with appeasing a party or comparing to other nations, but seeking the safety of their nation and rescheduling appropriately. From the question of national elections to statewide election deadlines being rescheduled, a federal judge on Monday delayed a deadline by which Michigan candidates must file petitions to qualify for the ballot, citing the state's stay-at-home order that is the place because of the coronavirus pandemic. Off the field, baseball players battle a new foe. Normally this time of year, the Great Lakes Loons are taking the field for the start of their baseball season. Assistant manager Matt DeVries says, "When we heard that we were not going to be playing baseball for a good chunk of time, we decided that we should all take our cleaning supplies, that we had all of the masks and rubber gloves, or anything that we could contribute to this cause." Thank you for listening. This has been Kylie Clifton reporting live and accessorized. Always remember to stay at home and keep on those accessories. Thank you for listening.